I'm working for amateurs. Oh, the dog's the dog is blocking me. Here we go. Okay, you guys ever see that video of that of the Michael Jackson like screams? Here. Here, Michael Jackson noises. This is the best one. I'm pretty sure I played this last time, but just in case you all didn't see it or you didn't hear it, here. This is all of Michael Jackson grunts. Yeah. That's amazing. Can I recreate Michael Jackson falling off the stage? Yeah. Ah! Let me see if I can find it. Wait. It's in this video somewhere.
I don't understand.
This is Michael Jackson. Wait. Here we go. Wow! Wait. It has to sound like weird, like weirdly echoey too, right?
Wow! Whoa!
All right, perfect. There we go. So you get the full Michael Jackson gamut. Michael Jackson sounds like he was having a fun time earlier. No, that was just him like thinking about things. What did he even say? I understand. Yeah, I mean, what the hell is he saying there? I gotta stop. If we keep doing that, listen, the more that I play with that, the more I'm gonna be enticed to make the same noises. Welcome to today's stream. What an explosive open for today's stream. I'm so sorry for that. Sounds like bro's going band for band. Hey man, if he has to do what he has to do, alright? Michael Jackson, he didn't get to the top easily, alright? There was a lot of sacrifice along the other way. Welcome to today's stream. We're gonna play some more Dragon's Dogma. There's very little that I'm gonna tell you about because there's nothing to talk about. There's nothing to talk about except the Riot Games MMO. Okay, so this is a weird one. It's a weird one. The Riot Games MMO, everybody thought it was going to die because I don't know if you guys heard this, but Riot Games basically laid off a lot of their staff and they stopped the Riot Forge program. So the Riot Forge program is now gone. It was really cool for a moment while it still worked, but that means if you like Song of Nunu, we'll never get a sequel. If you liked Bandle Tale, we'll never get a sequel. If you liked The Mage Seeker, we'll never get a sequel. If you liked Convergence, we'll never get a sequel. If you liked Hextech Mayhem, we'll never get a sequel. If you liked The Ruin King RPG by the same team that made the Hammer Fist Breaker, I forget the name one, we'll never get a sequel. Those games are now dead forever because the entire Riot Forge program and the studio is like gone. Yo, V, make a sequel of Stick Thing. Make a sequel of V Stick Thing. Yeah, make a sequel of V and then call it V Stick Thing. Exactly, yeah. Unfortunately, no one's there to make a sequel. It's all gone. And people thought that that meant the MMO was dead too. Because the MMO is like a very sort of like side project from them. Riot Games, you may not know them. I need to stop breathing into the mic too, sorry. I have to do the Tay-Zonde thing. So if you see my face like step away, it's because I'm doing the like Tay-Zonde thing. Like, chocolate rain. Something, chocolate rain. He like steps away from the mic to take like a very long breath. But they make League of Legends, they make Valorant, right? And they were making an MMO with a director called Ghostcrawler or Night Ghost? Ghostcrawler. I'm pretty sure obviously Ghostcrawler, I think. He was the same guy from WoW. And a lot of his philosophy was just to make an MMO that was like a good MMO, right? Like don't innovate too much. Like do the status quo and try to do it as best as it can. And usually that's what Riot Games does very, very well, is they take a concept that like works. They don't innovate very, very much, and when they make it work, it's very, very good. Everyone thought that it was dead because they laid off all the teams, including the Riot Forge team. But turns out there was an update by the chief product officer from a guy named Riot Tryndamere. Yes. His online name was the name of that character in the game that everyone hates. It's a very narcissistic champion. But basically, what he said was the MMO is still going. And so you can see his tweets, but I'm not going to show his tweets because Twitter is a... Listen, I scroll down I was scrolling down to see the replies on the post about a Mongolian horse archer. Don't ask me why I got there. It was because it was from a TikTok. And the first thing I see is like ass and titties. And I'm like, okay, I can't like this doesn't make any sense. But yeah, the MMO is still coming. Basically, it's still coming, but they're redoing the entire thing under a new direction with a new person working on it, which is crazy, actually, crazy. I think the person who's doing it was the person who worked on Legends of Runeterra, which also got axed, which is well, I mean that was very unfortunate. Which was their Hearthstone skills by clone. And the person who was doing that, they also led projects at BioWare and like EA. But basically, they said, yeah, they're retooling everything. So it's for he literally said for several years they're going to go dark because they're going to redo the entire game. They're remaking the entire thing because whatever was there before isn't going to work. Now I've heard that when games lose their director, they go downhill. And I thought it wouldn't be too bad because like once you have an idea of what to make, you would think it's fine to like play, right? Like it's fine to sort of like for the team to continue on down that path, but. This is twice now that I've seen examples of this happening where the team said, okay, it's just not impossible. Like, it's just not possible to keep it going. They did not want to give up. That's the key, right? They didn't want to give up the idea of an MMO run by Riot Games. But they also didn't want to actually, like, try to go on ahead without a creative directive behind it. Because Ghostcrawler left the team as well for personal reasons. And he thought that he could get it done with a smaller team, right? Another game that had this was... What was that game? Wait. Oh, another game that had this happen where the creative director left and they still pushed on was Ghostwire Tokyo, right? The director of that game, she left because of a lot of stress. To be fair, it was a very stressful role. And even the original founder of that small studio left because of the exact same reasons. There was too much corporate meddling to make it happen, right? So she left, and so that game released, and it wasn't good. It wasn't good. Apparently, a lot of different game developers, and I've only heard this as a hearsay from other people's streams from when they talk to them, is like they'll say like, okay, once a game loses its creative director, it's basically over, right? There's nothing you can do once you lose your creative director. Even if you want to continue on and you don't want to give up on the game, you can't continue down the same path because at some point they're still gonna have to step in to figure things out, right? I thought maybe there's a plan up like front, but we've seen what happens, right? I tried to make a full plan for the Star Power RPG and it didn't even work. And there's no way that that's going to work because the Star Power RPG is like a smaller game. But even I couldn't make a plan for like that. So, like imagine like a much larger game, right? Even something that isn't like a large game, like say Valorant. There's still so many different moving pieces to it that you need to be cohesive on. Otherwise, it just doesn't work, right? So it makes sense that they didn't want to give up on the idea of a Riot Games MMO. But it also makes sense that they didn't want to go on with that same plan because there's no way that they could now that the original person's gone. How could you ever understand the intent behind certain decisions without the person there to tell you all their context and all their mind state, right? This is, by the way, the same person who, when they were in the balance scene, Ghostcrawler, he was famous about hating healing during combat. And during that time, the game felt very balanced because healing wasn't that bad. And healing felt very, very, like, you know, situational where it was good. Like, things were actually surprisingly good at the time. So he was a very, like, good understanding person. Like, he really understood what like players wanted to play and like why they would be fun to like play. Even though it fits some fantasy, it may not be like the most fun thing to play in like a PvP setting, right? However, if he's gone and all you see in your design doc is limit healing, it's like, oh, this is stupid. I want to make a healing skill that like drops globes of healing that forces my team to walk around. Or I want like a healing monk class that like heals as they do like damage, or it can take damage for someone else at the risk of their like life, right? And you think that sounds so cool. Why would I not want to do that? And then it turns out, well, the context is that it's not that healing should be gone entirely. It's that if you add healing, you need to think about it. It's not as easy as just having it, because it can be very infuriating in many situations, especially in like a PvP circumstance, or even in a PvE circumstance. You fight a monster for a long time and it keeps healing. It's not fun. And so, you know, you have these ideas, but you lose the person behind them. You can never get that context back. So it's good to see that they're still making the MMO, as you know, as you say, chat. They did not want to give it up, but still, it kind of sucks. You know what I mean? Like, it's like I'm so curious what their original vision was, right? Because I wouldn't have minded just a better MMO that's like the same as right now, right? Not to say that there's necessarily anything interesting about that, but I think it'd just be fun to like play, especially if it's free to play, right? However, if they're gonna retool it and potentially innovate on it, I kind of hope we get back something like Terra. Terra was a great MMO. It had the holy trinity of like, you know, healer, tank, damage dealer. Everyone had to play to their role to make it work for a time until the initial patches came and the new characters came, and then the game started to have more hybrid roles, and then all of a sudden a tank that couldn't die and could self-heal could like grab the entire room and solo the entire room. Then it got bad. But before then, there was a lot of like skill that your team needed to like do respective to their roles, but the general sort of like team party synergy strategy tactics was simple enough that anyone could get into it. There was very high level stuff that you could do, but in general it could be very, very easy for anyone to get into because tanks go at the front, damage dealers at the back, healers, they usually dead. Usually the healers die because the tank didn't taunt and they didn't aggro, and usually people played warrior tanks and the warrior tanks never used that chain properly, so everyone died. Yeah, but yeah, I'm curious to see how it goes. MMOs are notoriously hard to make because there's so much stuff that you need to do well, and there's so much like content that you need to make, right? I've long since thought of an MMO that I want to make for like a while now. The problem is, it's literally gonna like if you think about the technical ability that you need to make that work, it's super hard. You have a server for like an online game, right? Fairly simple. You can make people connect, and you just send information over. Now do that for 100 people. Do that for 1,000 people. Do that for even tens of thousands of people. The more you scale, the harder these problems get. Because all of a sudden, something that takes 5 milliseconds is too slow. Something that takes 100 nanoseconds is now starting to get way too slow. And that's usually the speed limit of like most databases IOPS, right? Most. Then you get into the really optimized databases that like can do IOPS in like maybe like, you know, under 10 nanoseconds. And even at a certain scale, it's still too slow. Right? Because if 10,000 people hit it, what's 10,000 nanoseconds? What's 10 nanoseconds times 10,000? I don't know. I can't do math. But it's at least a second. So it's like you got to do something to make it faster, right? Like it's problems that only come at the highest scale. That even if you're dealing with really small increments, like nanoseconds, okay, that's like a thousandth of a second. There still just isn't enough power to make that work. So you need like a whole different mindset. It's very hard. So I hope to see it works, right? It's very interesting to see them try it. I love MMOs because they're really social. I hate MMOs today though because a lot of MMOs today you play single player but multiplayer. Like basically every MMO out there, WoW, MapleStory, everything. I mean, WoW for a while and WoW Classic was good, but WoW always suffered from this problem of the map is too large and players will naturally congregate onto the endgame stuff. I've always thought the best MMO is an MMO where there's one single town for everything, and the map is like one single place, and that's the only place that you can go to, because otherwise you lose the social aspects. It's so boring. But anyways, I digress. That's the only news I wanted to read for all of you. I do have a song today though. Yesterday we didn't start with a song because I was too excited, and also it was 8 p.m. my time. It was very late. Today I have a song that I think you'll enjoy. This is it has Mongolian throat singing. I know I started today by saying I was looking at a video of Mongolian horse archery. Listen, I got on a weird bend about Mongolian horse archery. Listen, TikTok, they know your algorithm very, very well. Boy, oh boy. So enjoy the song. This song is called Wolf Totem by The Who. I think it was featured in some movie, I'm not really sure. But it's a fascinating style of song. Again, it sounds very folksy, you know what I mean? Like very Mongolian folksy. And also I really love the look of the instruments. But in general, I love the vibe of the song, and I think it's a great vibe to have for today's adventure. So enjoy the song, The Wolf Totem by The Who. The coolest looking instruments too. The coolest. God, it looks so cool. It's like it. They look like fully custom made, like culturally themed instruments. That song is so good. I, you know that I enjoy really good vocalization, right? Because I think vocalization has such a power to it. And the human voice, sorry, I hit the mic. The human voice is a very fascinating instrument because the way that the human voice sounds like and the way that it speaks to us, it cuts right through a lot of different barriers, right? No matter what language you speak, the human voice is something that we all sort of like, not all. Sorry, if you're born like deaf or or mute, then maybe you don't really know what like your voice is, or you can't hear voices. But for most of us, it's something that we're all sort of acquainted to, and for most of us, it's something that we naturally enjoy because we learn how to speak, we learn how to communicate, we learn how to be social through our words, through our voice, right? It's like the first thing that you hear is like the sounds of life around you, the sound of people talking to you, and so it's like the human voice almost has this like strange quality to sort of like cut through all these different layers and all these different barriers and like deliver messages straight to your heart emotionally. It's a very interesting way of doing it. And specifically the way that the song uses vocalization. Not only is it the throat singing, right? What I really really enjoy is also like the way that it uses the human voice as an instrument, right? Because you have the singing, you have the throat singing, and those are, I guess, like you could argue that that's also like instrumental. Because what's the difference between like an instrument and like the voice? But specifically, that it's used in the form of singing. But when it uses the human voice as like a way of like carrying some like beats, like the huh huh huh, that stuff. I wish more songs did this. Now Kanye West, he's I mean obviously there's something wrong there. There's something really wrong there. Not not only the way that he treats others, and not only the ways that he thinks about people in the world, and the horrible things that he said about groups of like people, but there's one thing that he does really really well in his stuff. Even before he went, insano, right? Even before he went kind of off the rails, there was one thing that he did really 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 well in all of his songs, and that was using voice, the vocalization, the human voice as an instrument throughout the songs. Daniel Caesar is very much similar. Remember the song "Don't Lean on Me," as well as "It's Okay" and like stuff. That was a demonstration, a really good demonstration of like voice as an instrument, and it's always so fascinating to like see. I really really enjoy that aspect of like the human voice, and I wish that there was more things that used it. Like I'm surprised that Dragon's Dogma uses vocalization very limited in a very very limited sense for the songs with like lyrics, but it doesn't just use like the sounds as like a beat almost. It's fascinating. I wish more games did, because it'd be amazing. But hey, we only get what we get. Now, give me a moment to set things up, and we're moving right into Dragon's Dogma. Also, I need to text my wife. Be right